big. That's right. Fail big. You only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals. Life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. And understand that to achieve these goals, you must apply discipline and consistency. In order to achieve your goals, you must apply discipline and consistency every day, not just on Tuesday and miss a few days. You have to work at it every day. You have to plan every day. You've heard the saying, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. Hard work works.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That was a jam. That was a jam.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, you know what it is. It's Saturday, baby. Top of the afternoon, top of the afternoon, top of the afternoon. We are on the official countdown. That's right. 82 days away. And I want to know why everybody's tapping in before we get our pleasantries out of the way. Is Jason Witten a first ballot Hall of Famer? Yeah, that's right. Him and Dez are eligible for the class of 2026. So we're going to talk about that on 82 days. Bob, how you doing down there in Denver? How's the weather?
Wow, today's a beautiful day, man. I woke up at about 5 a.m.
Wow.
We had to get to my mother-in-law is a ovarian cancer survivor, so we went to a 5K in her honor, as well as the other folks that have the other ladies who have battled cancer. And so I was up pretty early, but it's a gorgeous day out here, man. Clear skies. I think it's probably around 75, 80 degrees now. It was a lot cooler earlier. But it's a nice day. Beautiful day out here in Denver, man.
That's what's up. That's good to hear. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Now, this is an exclusive for YouTube. However, I'm still live on Built Different Group. I wanted to go live over there today. I want to make sure y'all feel like we're not forgetting y'all. We're showing y'all some love over there. So shout out to all of the green badges on Built Different Group. If you throw stars, you know I got Drew hanging out with me. I got Dez hanging out with me. But stars this month is for Drew. So if you donate stars, all stars matter. Go to Drew Pearson for this month. But shout out to everybody on YouTube, man. First, we were live on your channel on Wednesday, Bob. Now we're live on my channel, baby.
YouTube does it right, man. YouTube's got it. They got the rules correctly. Their algorithm is a little wacky, but, if you're not doing anything wrong, dude, they're good. They support you, man. They boost. They're good.
Right on. And there's one of your 4 horsemen right there. Eric B's tapping in, says, Witten rules, tight end worlds, always. 82. Where are all my Jason Witten fans? If you know somebody out there, you got your Jason Witten jersey on over there, Bob.
Oh, you know it.
He rocking the J-Dub today, baby, on all things 82. But earlier this year, the news broke that the class of 2026 and those that were eligible. And, Dez Bryant, the all-time leading touchdown receptions leader, and Jason Witten were 2 of those Cowboys that were included in this list. Now, I had to do some double checking because, I've been saying that Dez Bryant is the all-time receptions leader for touchdowns with 73. And then we'll get to that in just a minute on J-Dub. But does anybody know how many touchdowns Jason Witten had as a Cowboy? If you do, leave that comment down there, not as a Las Vegas Raider, because you remember Jason Witten went to one season before he went and tried to go up in the booth, and it didn't work out so well. But he got a couple of touchdowns there in Vegas. But how many touchdowns did Jason Witten get as a Dallas Cowboy? That's what we're talking about here. So, Bob, how do you feel about J-Dub and Dez Bryant being in the class of 2026? I mean, are they going to make it the way that they do Cowboys around here? Darren Woodson ain't even in the Hall of Fame, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, So look, if we're talking about when you were in for the HOF, you are somebody who changed your position, who revolutionized your position, who did great things at your position, whatever the case may be. If we're talking about one of the greatest tight ends ever, you got to put Witt on there. And if we're talking about one of the greatest wide receivers that you just simply could not cover, you got to talk about Dez too. So those guys definitely deserve to be there. Do I think they're going to get there? I think Dez will go the way of Michael Irvin and get the same pushback that Michael Irvin got for so long. I think he's going to be under that. It's all, for some reason, I feel like it's just a bunch of old idiots out there just saying, well, that guy rubs me the wrong way. I don't think we're going to put him in there. And then if that's the case, that's what Dez did for a living, was rub people the wrong way.
Yeah. It took my guy, Drew Pearson, 33 years to get into the Hall of Fame. And I don't know why Darren Woodson is not in the Hall of Fame yet, even though we're talking about J-Dub here today. But Darren Woodson, all-time leader in tackles, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I mean, what's going on at the Hall of Fame? Now, if Jason Witten gets in as a first ballot Hall of Famer, I don't know. Do you think it would be more people excited or more people mad for like players like Darren Woodson and others that have not made? I mean, because like Ed Too Tall Jones is still not into the Hall of Fame. There's a handful of outstanding Cowboys that have not been entered into the Hall of Fame. But I'm with you. I think we pissed some people off up there. But shout out to everybody tapping in on YouTube. The one and only Ron the Don. We see you tapping in today. Appreciate you watching on YouTube today. Bob, what'd you have?
I was just going to say, if we're talking about a personality that absolutely did not rub people the wrong way and even went on to try his stint in announcing, it was Witten. If for all intents and purposes, the guy's going to get in there before Darren Woodson, simply because he's probably got a better reputation. Now, I don't remember Darren Woodson coming out of his face either. I don't remember him ever getting in trouble. I don't remember a lot of things back in the day in his heyday. So why he won't get in before Witten, I don't know. I just have this feeling, man. It's just a pattern that if you just didn't give anybody in the league a lot of shit while you were there and you did good things at your position, you probably have a better chance of getting there.
Well, here's all of the complete list per Yahoo CBS Sports. I've already shared this link in the comments, so that way you can check it out for your viewing pleasure today. This is what we're using as a reference. You got Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Jason Witten. I mean, those top three. Oh, Frank Gore, Phillip Rivers, Marquise Pouncey, Todd Gurley, LaShawn McCoy, Dez Bryant, Julian Edelman, Thomas Davis, Mike Iupati, Geno Atkins, Alex Smith, and Jarrell Casey. That is your 2026 Hall of Fame class nominations. Now, I don't even see Darren Woodson on there. Or is this some kind of different list? Did they just forget Darren Woodson again this year?
His name's not going to be on there, man.
Yeah.
After a while, you just got to kind of give up hope about it. There might be something that changes. Maybe the Cowboys, if the Cowboys went like back-to-back Super Bowls again, I think maybe they would have to kind of say, all right, well, let's look back at some of those guys that did that.
Start leaning some folks into the hall, huh?
Yeah.
Shout out to Sarah. She said that would be a great trip to Canton. We need a repeat treat. I agree. Now, should Woody or Dez or Jason get into the Hall of Fame in the class of 2026, you can book it. I'll be at the Hall of Fame game next season, but not this season. I'm going to pull up the Hall of Fame game stuff this season, so that way we can take a look at that. And that way you guys can understand where the Hall of Fame website is at. There's a ton of information over there. Now, look, I had no desire before going in 2021 to see my favorite player of all time, Drew Pearson, get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, I will tell you, if you are a football fan, the Hall of Fame is a football palace, and you will have a lot of fun because there is so much rich history. And you know what's really surprising, Bob?
What's that?
All the fans out there are real friendly. It's not like comments on Facebook like, fuck the Cowboys. Y'all suck. Cowboys still suck. There's nobody running up to you as a Cowboy fan at the Hall of Fame because all of the football fans out there are really just fans of football. We ain't got time for that shit. But, yeah, if Witten, Dez, or if any of them Cowboys that I just named get into the Hall of Fame in 2026, you best believe we're going to be right back there. So I hear you, Sarah. Be round 2 out there for sure as we pull up the Hall of Fame website. 47 days until the Hall of Fame game. That's right. Who's playing in the Hall of Fame game this year? I think it's the Colts and somebody else, right? Let's see. Where's that game at?
It always seems to be like the most uneventful game ever.
Yeah. Here he goes. 2025 Hall of Fame game. Just go right to it here. Detroit Lions, Los Angeles Chargers. There we go. Now, the Lions and the Chargers. Now, Bob, you were sharing some information with me before we get into the Hall of Fame talking about tickets.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah,
What was it? What was it that you heard about the Detroit Lions season ticket situation you were hearing?
So apparently, and God, if this was I passed this past a Lions fan, and he confirmed it, but that still doesn't mean that it may be 100%. Look it up. I saw a bunch of stuff about this though. They are currently calling up people who are current or who have been season ticket holders, and letting them know that they are not allowed to renew or will not get season tickets this coming season because of how many tickets they sold last year instead of going to. So what they're basically saying is, if you're going to take our season tickets that we give you at a regular flat rate every year, and you're going to turn around and make hundreds of dollars off of them and not go, then you're not getting season tickets anymore. So that's part. And again, we need to understand that, some of these sites have made it real easy for folks like us to make lots of money off of this when it's supposed to be contained within the companies that create these tickets. And there's some people are getting a little upset with it. So that's exactly what I've heard, and I passed that by a friend, and he said, "Yeah, that's what's going on. If you're making too much money, then
imagine now, because I believe all 32 stadiums have facial recognition in them right now.
Right.
And imagine that if they start scanning seats and they don't see your face on your tickets, and you try to go back the next season to buy tickets, like what Bob? That's what it sounds like. Bob sharing with us. Like if you're going to get penalized for selling your season tickets, you're not going to get a chance to buy them the next season. Ooh, boy, if Jerry and them got busy with that, I don't know. But let's get back to this original question that we had. I see Eric B's throwing up his answer. He says 74 touchdowns for Witten. That's correct. 74 total. I think my guy Bob tapped in here, says take away 2. That's right. He had 2 with the Raiders. So he's at 72 receptions for touchdowns, because I was thinking like, damn, he got 74. I've been saying Dez got 73. So what's going on with that? So I had to go to old Stat Muse and check out the numbers over there, baby. And sure enough, Jason Witten had 72 touchdowns, if you count them here, and he had 2 for the Las Vegas Raiders during 2020, during that one season. Because I thought when Jason Witten retired and they brought him back, bro, under Jason Garrett, I was like, man, the first thing I thought, there goes Dez's record. Right. They're going to throw it to J-Dub, because this is why I love Jason Witten so much. How many of you ever played or had played or always played Jason Witten in your fantasy football lineups?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the time. That guy's money, dude.
But why? Why, though? Because that was old Tony Romo's safety blanket, right?
Right. Yeah, it was going to happen, especially if you were doing a PPR.
Yeah, if you were in a PPR, I had Witten every year. It don't matter who the quarterback was. J-Dub was going to get his, and it's relevant because he had 72 touchdowns as a Cowboy, 2 with the Raiders, so that puts him at 74. That still protects Dez Bryant, who is also up for the Hall of Fame this season as the all-time touchdowns leader for the Cowboys at 73. He does have 75, I believe, however, Dez Bryant, because I think he ran a couple back for touchdowns. I think his first play as a Cowboy was a punt return for a punt return, touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
He's got one of those end arounds too, I think.
Yeah.
And an end around passing touchdown too. To Witten. Right. To Witten.
Miss Felony Strutter. Oh, that's a new name. From Filthy since 1976. We see you tapping in. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube today, this is YouTube Saturday with your boy BG, but I got my guy Bob up here as we talk about all things 82. Ryan says Witten is the first ballot Hall of Famer. No doubt. Yeah, it's going to be interesting if J-Dub gets in and you got guys like Ed Too Tall Jones, Darren Woodson, all of these players that have been on America's team for a number of years that have not made it. I think it's going to stir a lot of controversy, especially if J-Dub gets in and Dez don't make it in the class of 2026. Or best case scenario, could you see both of them going in? I don't know about Dez Bryant, because Dez Bryant be talking his mouth and still pissing off a lot of folks, but that's okay. I love Dez for that. But let us know in the comments, is it going to be J-Dub and Dez going in, or is it just going to be J-Dub, or will no Cowboys make the Hall of Fame during this class of 2026? Because I think Drew Brees is a lock. He won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, and I think he's a lock for sure. Plus
Larry Fitzgerald, Larry Fitzgerald, the definition of reliable, right? I mean, I wouldn't be mad if Larry made it in there. I don't know who else on there. I don't know about Todd Gurley. I don't know about LaShawn McCoy. Now, if LaShawn McCoy make it, can you just imagine the shit we're going to hear if LaShawn McCoy makes it on that fucking panel up there of the what is that show that he's on? And if those Cowboys like Dez and J-Dub don't make it and he does, oh, you can get ready. LaShawn McCoy gonna run his trash ass mouth on that Dez. I ain't gonna be happy about that.
Folks, it should also be known that Darren Woodson does have, I think, 3 years left of eligibility until he is possibly being able to run as I think it's a senior committee.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 more years of eligibility. And so in 3 more years, if he doesn't get in there, he'll be possibly put in through a senior committee.
Got you. Felipe's tapping in right here on Facebook. Says, we used to throw it to the tight end, whom was a specialist at pass and run blocking. Speaking of blocking, I mean, they're talking about running the damn ball this season under Clayton Adams and Schottenheimer under this offense nobody has seen. Now, there's been reports about Kevontae Turpin coming out as a running back. There's been reports of Deuce Vaughn as a wide receiver, and there's been reports of Hunter Lipke at tight end. I mean, Bob, we hear this. Is this smoke and gamesmanship, or we really about to see some new offense? No more Zeke up the middle, first play of the game, right?
If it's the truth, it's smoke and gamesmanship, and if it isn't, it's still smoke and gamesmanship. So this is a good thing. Here's the situation. We got a bunch of new staff, bunch of new players. Anybody who had a playbook against what to do against the Dallas Cowboys last year, any time before that, you got to throw that out now.
No film, zero, zilch, nada.
You got to come up with something, and then if Dallas comes out and starts saying, "Hey, we're not only going to be running with basic offensive and defensive formations, we're going to be doing some crazy shit along there, making the running back that everybody wanted to play a wide receiver and having a wide receiver as a running back." Like, of course, you want people to think that. None of it's really going to matter if none of it actually comes to fruition. It's not like people are game planning against us for things that haven't happened yet. But that's a good thing to do, man. That's gamesmanship. I like it.
Yeah. Got you. Ryan's tapping in, talking. Dez Bryant says something about Dez. He's not the best 88, but he has been my favorite. Lamb will another first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, Lamb is going to be a no-brainer. Lamb is set on his trajectory. I think, let me just go over here and pull up his numbers. I think he's set over the next couple of years to probably break Michael Irvin's records. And with that being said, he's also on pace to eclipse Dez Bryant's all-time touchdowns reception leader. That's 73. I'm going to pull up his stats, and we'll take a look at him here. But that's a great question. I mean, Dez not clearly by far not the top 88. He's never won a ring. However, he has the most touchdown receptions in Cowboys history. That does stand for something, I would think, right?
The dude was almost unguardable, man. That's
red zone threat, baby. Red
sick.
Zone threat. Let's take a look at CeeDee Lamb. He's been here since 5 seasons. He's currently got 38 touchdowns. Let's go take a look at Michael Irvin's. I want to see where Michael Irvin is on total touchdowns. Oh, 65. Okay, so so 38, 65, 40, that's 27, that's 29, so 30. So maybe 2 to 3 years. I mean, this could technically happen under Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott were to stay healthy, I mean, CeeDee's going to average 6, 7, 8 touchdowns a season. Now, especially with George Pickens. Now, let's talk about this as we talk all things 82 here today. We're talking about the receivers and Hall of Fame bids and things like that. But when it comes to CeeDee Lamb breaking that record, I mean, he will be the top 88 once he breaks Dez Bryant's touchdown records, and if he was to get a ring, which I think would automatically put him in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Bob, how do you feel?
No, for sure. I still think in terms of best production, prolific play, I really think for me it's Michael Irvin and then CeeDee Lamb. Now Dez really could be up there if I'm being honest, but there's just something that CeeDee brings, the quiet confidence, the almost always catching that damn ball. The way he goes about getting it, the fact that he can be an over-the-middle wide receiver and then a deep threat as well. He's just a different dude. And it took about a season for me to warm up to him wearing that number. But at this point, I think he's one of the best ever.
Now, Ryan brings up a great point here. He says, would love to see Witten mentor Ferg at tight end. Well, first of all, J-Dub really don't have time to be mentoring nobody because Jason Witten is a high school football coach out there. If you've been keeping up with the news with Jason Witten out there, I'm going to pull that up. I believe his son just got accepted to college or something like that, right?
I think so. But I'll tell you what, historically, it's been a real tough gig for the second and third string tight ends for the Dallas Cowboys. you get almost no playing time, especially if you've got a Jason Witten in front of you. It's the reason why a lot of tight ends didn't work out for us, because they couldn't develop behind a guy who was going to guarantee to start every game when you're not going to do anything but running, being a pass blocker or run blocker. It's really, really tough to be a second and third string tight end with this team. We don't seem to really develop anybody underneath the guy who's the starting star. And I still think Ferg's the star on this team in terms of tight end, man. I don't know. He's a tough dude too.
Right. Jason Witten is a high school coach at Liberty Christian School in Argyle, Texas. In his third season, he led the Warriors to an undefeated record, 14-0 in TAPS Division II state championship. Ooh, Witten out there doing big things, baby. Big things. But let's see, Jason Witten's son. I think he's got a couple of sons that play football, right? Cooper Witten. Yeah, there we go. Son of great Witten. Jason Witten is carving his own path as the nation's top 2027 linebacker. Yeah, didn't Jason Witten start out? Wasn't he a linebacker in Tennessee also?
I don't know, but it makes complete sense. The dude's big.
Yeah, because, most that's why Jason Witten, I believe, could block so good. I believe he started out as a linebacker, and I don't know if you're tapping in, let us know if you know the J-Dub history down in the comments below. I believe he was a linebacker because linebacker at first, because as a tight end, that's why Jason Witten was so good, a dual threat. He could block and he could catch.
He was just a badass. He was recruited by some universities as a linebacker, apparently.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're there, Eric. You're tapped in right with us. Yeah, Eric Beeson says, span forward taking Scotty reps. Yeah, we talk about Jake Ferguson, who's on a contract deal. His agent is the same agent as Dak Prescott, Todd France. He's on a contract deal. You got Luke Schoonmaker, I think, going into year 3. Yeah. And so, Brevin Spanford has been making noise, especially out in OTAs. So if you tap in yesterday and checked out my girl Kels at the Intel, she was telling us all about Spanford. Spanford could be bucking for some tight end reps. I'm hearing we may see double tight end sets with this offense this season, Bob.
That's cool. That's good. If we're planning on throwing it out of them, that's great. But even better if we decide to run out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, if we're talking about running a double tight end set and big jumbo packages and things like that, we know Luke Schoonmaker's a big body. We know, I don't know. Let's say out of Luke and Jay Ferguson, which one do you think blocks the best? Let me ask that to the audience here this morning as we tap in, talking all things 82. But also let us know, what is your favorite Jason Witten moment? And mine, of course, is against the Eagles. When they took his helmet off and he kept running.
Kept going.
Yeah, that's built different right there, baby. That's my favorite J-Dub memory of all time. Do you got a favorite J-Dub memory?
It was later on, right, in Dez's career, but I just mentioned it. The wide open touchdown thrown from Dez Bryant to him was pretty sick to watch, man.
And Dez Bryant is a lefty too, right? Yeah, he threw that with his left. Matter of fact, I think I got that. I can go find that reel right quick.
It is crazy, but the thing about Witten is that it's so hard to say one thing that he did amazing, because he was so clutch all the time. When we needed him to perform, he performed. Period. Right. End of story. So, it's a little easier for us to be like, hey, what's one of the greatest things you saw Noah Brown do? Because he wasn't exactly blowing shit up for a long time. You know what I mean? But with Witt, man, Witt he just did everything right, man.
Yeah. Now the Cowboys did let him go, and I remember that day. I remember when I got the news. Let me get to that in just a second. We'll get to this. Get to your favorite moment here. We'll share this little highlight. Yeah, Dez to J-Dub for the pass. Who's seen that coming, right? And guess who the play caller was this game? Our old offensive coordinator.
Really nice job of using plays like that selectively. Oh, boy. Bryant's going to throw. Witten's wide open. Scott Linehan with a great ball for a Dallas
Scott
touchdown.
Linehan. What? Watch this. Look who's behind Linehan. I bet you this was a...
Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, has got to be loving.
Look at who is it? Kellen Moore. He's like, I told you.
Are you
Kellen Moore's running up there. I told you to run that play. That wasn't Scott Linehan's play. I believe Kellen Moore told him, man, just try this shit, and it worked out. But that was a tight-ass play. Yeah, Dez throwing a lefty. Dez is thrown for a touchdown. Dez has run for a couple of touchdowns, and Dez has caught 73 touchdowns. Now, if he would have a ring, which he never got, because Tony Romo, I mean, even Drew Pearson was talking shit. He said he had that sorry ass Tony Romo throwing the ball. That ain't my words. That's Drew Pearson's words. But if Dez were to have a ring, I think he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer under Jason Witten, because Jason Witten would have a ring too, essentially. But I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Is Dez the number 188 in your book or not? I mean, he's thrown, he's run, and he's caught touchdowns. Name another 88 that's done that. I mean, Drew Pearson was a quarterback in college. Did you know that, Bob?
That makes complete sense too.
Yeah, he was a college quarterback at Tulsa, right? You know, and Drew actually threw a couple touchdowns to our wide receiver back in the day, Mr. Golden. Yeah, he threw a couple touchdowns to him as well. So let us know about those 88s in the comments as we discuss all things today on on 82, as we're 82 days away. I can't believe it, man. We're already 90 days under, man. And then we got training camp coming up. I mean, training camp is getting ready to be here just like that, Bob. July 23rd is like next weekend.
Yeah, the NFL, man. You got to give it to them, man. For as much as an impending force as it seems like they are, they know exactly how to fast forward the offseason as fast as possible, man. They do a great job of making sure that the last game of the season, the Super Bowl, is not that far from the draft talk and all this other stuff, man. They really, really do a good job of that, because I mean, I remember growing up, I felt like we almost had to wait an entire year for the NFL to start growing up, because we didn't have all the media coverage of all of it. Right. It was in the back of a newspaper. But shout
out to Miss Felony Strutter on YouTube, said, I met Jason 3 times his rookie year. Really nice kid. That's awesome. If you met Jason, or if you got any autographed Jason Witten material, let us know in the comments below. Sterling tapping in. What up, baby, with that green badge? He says maybe, but Lamb's career not over. Yeah, we just talked about that. Michael Irvin with 68 touchdowns. I believe CeeDee Lamb with like 35, I believe it is. So over the next 2 seasons, I mean, with the addition of George Pickens this season, I don't know. Jake Ferguson might be lined up for a great year, because if you put both of those receivers on the outside, you're going to see Kevontae Turpin across the middle, out of the back in the flat, because, you know, we see Eric tapping in saying, hey, we don't know what this offense is going to look like, right? The McCarthy O is no longer, thank God, no more Zeke straight up the middle, first play of the game. It will have similar language, but way more action and such. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see film, which also will be good, because even through half of the season film on this offense, by then, I believe Shotty and them could change it into something else. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but Jake Ferguson is definitely on a contract year. And if I know the Cowboys front office, I don't think Jake Ferguson's going to have a heavy production year. Why? His agent is Dak Prescott's agent, and plus he's going to try to get a lot of money. So we're getting ready to talk about that. I don't think we talked about Butters' contract is coming up too. He got the same agent as Dak Prescott too. I mean, damn, does Todd Francis have all the Cowboys as his players or what? But yeah, it's getting ready to be that situation, as now we're talking about when is Micah going to get paid, because now TJ Watt, which my girl Kels explained to us yesterday, that the difference in the defensive end market and the linebacker market is 2 totally different markets. Now, Micah Parsons is in the defensive end market, but TJ Watt is in the linebacker market. And they're saying he might be the next top highest paid player in the league. So I don't know. Are the Joneses going to trump that and make the defensive end market trump the linebacker market? Are we getting ready to see that? Or will Micah have to take a back seat to TJ Watt as the highest paid player in the league? And the second thing is, when the fuck are we going to pay Micah Parsons?
I think it's great that he came out and said that the longer as the Cowboys wait to pay him, the more they're going to have to pay. And he's right. That seems to be the way we do things. And I talked to Eric B about that earlier, man. We wind up making these guys the greatest, most highest paid players in their position, because Jerry just loves the eyes on the team, man, and loves the suspense and loves the whole soap opera of it all, and drags it out as far as possible to make sure that clicks and likes are popping, and then it happens when it happens.
I can tell you this: if TJ Watt signs that deal and becomes the highest paid player in the league, and Micah Parsons, we're still waiting on him to get his contract, I guarantee you, I hate to say it, but I don't know. And I'm going to ask you, do you think if Micah doesn't have a contract going into camp, is Micah a hold in or a hold out? Or does he participate like what Dak Prescott did last season without a deal?
It's going to show us the true side of him if and when that does happen. At this point, I find him to be more of a wanting to be in the good graces of the Dallas Cowboys. probably loves it there. He probably loves what's going on. So I think he's going to probably do what he needs to do in order to stay in the good graces of the team. A holdout is a little extreme, but it's just not something that's new or even really frowned upon, if I'm being honest. I think coaches and everybody understand that that's what's going to happen. That's the business part of it, or at least that's what they say. Now, if they give them dirty looks and talk to them sideways after they hold out and get signed, I don't know. But it feels like the people who kind of do it the way the team wants it to get done are the ones that kind of stick around longer.
I don't know. There's been a lot of people. I've been reading a lot of commentary across social media that thinks that conversation Jerry Jones was having with Micah Parsons over there was keep your agent out of it. This is between me and you, and this is how we're going to run the game. But shout out to Stephen Tucker on Facebook. He says, I want the Joneses to get this done before training camp. We need everyone on the same page. You mean just signed? I believe Micah's still on the same page as the team, but I believe there's this little gamesmanship and game of chess going on between Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones, who says he didn't even know David Muguleta, which I don't know how, because he's the same agent as George Pickens. So if he didn't know him before we traded for George Pickens, how does he not know him now? But we know Jerry gone Jerry. But yeah, I would like for it to get done too, but I don't see it getting done. I told y'all way before in the draft, I said, if we were to get it done before the draft, we could focus on the draft and focus on football, go into OTAs. We got everybody lined up on this roster. We got a 91-man roster already filled out. We don't have holes to try to fill during free agency during the summer, like Jerry alluded to. But I believe he's on the same page. But I believe this is a gamesmanship between Micah and Jerry. And I hate to say it, but I'll be at the training camp the first week of August. And I think Micah Parsons might be a hold in, especially if he ain't got his contract, because that would be Jerry even doubling down then. Like what we seen last year. Did y'all forget what we seen with CeeDee Lamb? CeeDee Lamb didn't show the camp last year, and then our offense paid the price for it in the first 5 weeks. Y'all remember that? So I don't know about Matt Eberflus with this new defense, and would it be particularly smart for the Cowboys not to pay Micah Parsons so he could hold in? I agree with you 100%, Stephen. I think they need to get this shit done ASAP. He says, don't want to go through with what Dak and CD went through. Thank you, especially on the defense. Now, we know Jack Sanborn is the green light linebacker, and we know Micah Parsons is a defensive end, but he's supposed to be a leader of this defense. And it would just be hard pill for me to swallow if Micah shows up and is a hold in at camp, because that's really just deteriorating our defense trying to come out, because CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott were on the same page because of camp last year. You remember when all that was going on, when Dak was or CD was like, I got you 4, and everybody was like, he's saying you suck or whatever. Remember that bullshit? All the lip readers, he was saying you suck 4 and all of that. But I don't know, man. With George Pickens in this offense, it's definitely going to look totally different for sure. What strain you smoking on over there today, Bob?
I believe this is Gary Poppins.
Gary Poppins, right?
Yep, Gary Poppins. It's obviously a Peyton cross of some kind. But I saw that Felony said that Dez being overrated. Dez fumbled too much. The funny thing is I believe CeeDee Lamb already has as many fumbles lost in 5 seasons as Dez did in 8. Or however many seasons.
Drop passes? You talking about drop passes?
Yeah, or just straight fumbles lost.
Yeah, Drew Pearson said the template, Dez fumbled too much and had a big mouth. Well, Dez was very vocal. Dez was very vocal. I appreciate that, Bob. Looking that up. Sterling says, I would say it would hurt him hurt him more because learning a new defense, but it's a business and what all the agents trying to get. Yeah, especially after Mike has already said he ain't familiar with that iPad. He ain't iPad friendly. And then to hear the guy say that, I would like to go show up and, get it in with the playbook and get it in on the field out there. But Micah Parsons was at mandatory OTAs without a helmet. And I don't know. This seems like it could be a prelude to training camp, because it does seem like, Jerry does like to drag the media out, especially when it comes to these contract player signings. And if you take a look at over the next 2-3 years, we got a whole bunch of players that's going to need a contract. So just kind of the blueprint for the Cowboys. What'd you find out over there on those drop balls, Bob?
Let's see, I believe it's 9 seasons. Des Bryant dropped the ball 8 times and lost it 5. And in 5 seasons, CD has dropped it 5 and lost 4.
Okay,
So
so he's almost there. He's almost right there with Michael Irvin. So we've dispelled that myth right there. Thank you for looking that up. But I mean, Des Bryant is the all-time touchdown reception leader, as we talked about. So you can't take that away from him. I mean, the guy even threw for a touchdown, as we just seen that highlight, and he's even ran. Matter of fact, the first play from scrimmage, as he was on special teams as a punt returner, he went for a touchdown at AT&T Stadium.
Man, I get the sentiment though, because it did seem like Des probably made more issues for himself than actually were issues. Dez's ability to get hype and get hot was really kind of mistaken as aggression a lot of times. I think it was just some misunderstandings a lot of times, but he definitely brought the spotlight on himself in a bad way sometimes. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, that kind of fire is what we had been missing in the wide receiver position for so long, man. So to see him come in and actually provide that kind of fire that like Michael Irvin used to bring, who I believe is the ultimate team motivator. It was really kind of cool to see that.
Irvin is different, man. Irvin has won rings at every level. Like Irvin is right. Irvin is a shit talker and a shit walker. Like he can talk it and he can walk it. Shout out to Ryan. He says he's on that Blue Dream. I see you out there. Steven also says Jerry loves the attention from the media. Yeah. It's how the Cowboys have gotten to be worth over $10 billion. And we haven't been to an NFC championship game in 30 years. There's no other team that could do that. But Jerry Jones simply has, because he's helped not only with the Cowboys, but he's helped elevate the league. Like in some circles, there are some owners that love Jerry because of what they've done to help Roger Goodell get rehired. But there are some owners that don't like Jerry at all. And I can understand. Totally. That's right, Mike Rock. Shout out to our 2023 Gym Rat of the Year in the building. X was nasty. Eric says, yes, always plays it out. You think on purpose with all the big contracts and positions. Yeah, I mean, we need to focus on football. We don't need any contract distractions going into training camp, especially with Micah Parsons, because it's a distraction. And then we got to hear Cowboy fans, he's selfish. Remember, every time the player's up, he's selfish. Micah Parsons' podcast is too much. He's selfish. He don't deserve to be the highest paid player. You know, it's funny how people think that you deserve certain things in life. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. And David Muguleta ain't no dummy. He's like, y'all go ahead and play that game over there if you want to. But I'm the guy that's got to be yay or nay on this contract.
Right. That is the truth, man. And listen, man, you've got to be a little bit selfish in this league, because if not, you're not going to get the money that you know you can get. This is the deal, man. The NFL brings in billions of dollars a year, man, and these players are putting their bodies on the line for very short periods of time in their life. They deserve some compensation for that. Do I think they deserve the money they get? Probably not, dude. But if we're talking about what they get versus what the NFL who pays them gets, there's a monster gap in that. And trying to get somebody to say, listen, don't ask for the most money in your position, even though you're the best at your position, because our team doesn't have that kind of money. That's almost impossible to do, man. In this day and age, it's all about me. It's vanity. It's look at me. It's the reason why we have front-facing cameras. It's all that stuff it's all breeding the selfishness, man. And that's something we're going to have to get used to. I know as an old school fan, it took a long time for me to accept that that's the way it was going to be. But we've got to realize that most players are going to have podcasts now, especially if they can make money during it. I mean,
it's a no-brainer if you think about it. Yeah. Look at us. Look at you. Got a YouTube channel. I got a YouTube channel. Why do we have YouTube channels? Well, you got a love for cannabis. You share your love for cannabis on the YouTube, which a lot of folks who follow you and subscribe to you love cannabis like yours truly. And then, of course, me, I got a YouTube channel. We're live on it here today. I like to talk Cowboys and help fans get connected at live events. That's our main mission here, is a YouTube page. I know a lot of y'all watching it like, you ain't Mike Fisher. I ain't trying to be Mike Fisher. You ain't Law Nation. I ain't trying to be Law Nation. But you ain't Boss Cowboy. We ain't trying to be Boss Cowboy. Trying to be BG, baby. That's what we do over here. That's why you get a YouTube channel. It's leveraging the internet. And especially as a player, that's another revenue generating stream. So are you telling me if your child was a professional football player, for the sake of the media, you would tell them, stop podcasting, man. Get your ass on. I'm going to tell my son, fuck what they talking about. Keep podcasting and get your money, baby. It's coins on the YouTube table. I mean, did you forget that the NFL did a deal with YouTube for 10 years?
Come on. They can get you out of some of your out of your copyright strikes as an NFL player that let some of those push through.
Yeah. You see your hat plug is in the building, baby. Good segue right there for the hat plug. Hey, if you'd like to win a Big Val hat this month, I got a week left. You got a week left. Shout out to everybody who's already participated. My guy Big Val has created these hats for almost 8 years. I know my guy Bob says he thinks he did 12,000. I want to ask everybody. I want to ask everybody in the comments below how many hats.
Shit, you remember the same exact fucking number I told you? Holy shit, that must have left a mark, bro.
Yeah, man. I was like, that's a lot, bro. I love it. But there's been some really good guesses going on now. If you're on my Patreon and you have a Raise the Bar membership, you can scroll all the way to the top of this, and that link is there. You can get your Raise the Bar membership and tell me how many hats do you think Big Val has created over his 8-year stint as a hat creator. So let me know in the comments below. But if you're on my Patreon, you can go in there. Now, whoever gets the closest to it is going to actually win a Big Val hat. And I'll go over here so that way I can show you the actual hat, baby. You know, I can show you better than I can tell you.
I decided to employ the PIR method for that 12,000 number. That is the Price is Right method, where you overguess so that the highest, if anybody misses the highest, you at least get closer to it.
Yep. Here it is right here. These are pictures from the hat plug. This is an XL. This is the hat that's up for grabs on my Patreon. So grab my Raise the Bar membership and tell me how many of these hats do you think he's created over his 8-year period. Now, there's been some really great answers in there. So make sure you go in there, and whoever's going to be the closest will actually win this hat. Now, I also have another hat because I'll be in Alaska here in a couple of days. Shout out to all them Cowboy fans up here in Alaska. We'll be on our Great Alaska Fishing Trip 2.0. And I've got a Big Val hat for the top fisherman or fisherwoman. So shout out to my girl, Kim Clam, who will be back this season. Fellas, shout out to my guy, DJ Kai, One Star One Family. He's going to be there, fellas. We got to go up there and outfish the women this time. But shout out to my guy, Big Val, in the hat plug, in the building there. That's a big plug right there. If you want to win that Big Val hat, go over there and participate. Get that Raise the Bar membership.
No one can hold a candle to Drew Pearson. You're right. He was an absolute. I mean, he's the reason why 88 is celebrated on this team. 100%.
Well, yeah, Drew Pearson. I mean, Drew Pearson got in. It took him 33 years, circling back to the Hall of Fame now. Getting back to our original topic here with Jason Witten. Jason Witten and Dez Bryant are both eligible for the class of 2026. And I think Jason Witten is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, he's got everything but the ring. So let's go back over to StatMuse, and I'll pull those stats up, and we'll take a look at his stats as he's got 72 touchdowns as a Dallas Cowboy.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, let's see. For the Dallas Cowboys, let's see what he had. Let's go back. Let's take a look here. Let me pull this up. But if you're just tapping in, leave us a comment down there below. Let us know what's your favorite Jason Witten memory of all time as we celebrate Jason Witten today. And we're going to learn this fall who is going to make it into the Hall.
Let's also not forget if you look over there on those stats too, he lost 7 fumbles from putting 9 down. So that's, but then he had a monster career though. That's a little bit, it's 17, 18 years or something. So that's a pretty good average, I think. Yeah,
17 years total. Jason Witten played 17 seasons for the Cowboys and the Raiders. He played 1 year for the Raiders. He had 1,228 catches for 13,000 yards and 74 touchdowns. That's 2 with the Raiders, 72 with the Cowboys. He was selected to play in 11 Pro Bowls and won Peyton Manning or Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award. So, I mean, the guy's got a heavy resume. And I don't see any other tight ends on this list. So could Jason Witten be the only tight end that get into the the Hall of Fame class of 2026? We're going to have to learn here very soon as the Hall of Fame game is getting ready to kick off between the Chargers and the Lions as we get back to that. Yeah, let's see, what date is that on? April 28th.
I think if we knew the actual criteria for getting into the Hall of Fame, we'd be able to predict a little bit better, but we don't really know exactly what those dudes are talking about behind closed doors.
Well, if you go on the website, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, I've shared that link down in the comments for the Hall of Fame there. I wanted to see, there was the link on here that said who that represents on that board, the actual board.
Oh, okay.
I'll find out here on here later. But if you browse around on the Hall of Fame website, you'll find a list of folks that represent this committee. the Hall of Fame committee that judges and enters these folks into the Hall of Fame. So I have to do a whole special on that next time, maybe on our next edition. But that link is down there in the comments. I wanted to jump on here this Saturday, man, because like Bob said, it's a beautiful day down there in Denver.
Mm-hmm. It is gorgeous. 48 members.
Yep, coming back from rookie broken ribs his rookie year. I remember that. Rush rules. What are you talking about?
I'm looking at
helmet off. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, the helmet off of Sheigel's Take It to the House. Big head on. Yeah, that was my favorite all-time Jason Witten play ever. Because I'm like, man, the guy could have just laid down like, oh, I'm not going to run. I don't want to get hurt. You know, he could have been like Dion out there making business decisions. But no, he wasn't. And I hate to say that, shout out to Dion. I know Dion's facing some health struggles right now. Have you been paying attention? So prayers up for Dion out there. But yeah, Jason Witten wasn't making no business decisions out there. But I think he gets into the Hall of Fame. I don't think Dez Bryant makes it. I hate to say it. I just think there's too much stink around Dez Bryant, especially if you watched how Dez Bryant left the Cowboys. Did you ever get a chance to watch that All or Nothing Amazon Prime special, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
You remember how they slanted Dez Bryant? It seemed like every time they had Dez Bryant on the camera, he was being argumentative,
right?
Late to film work. It was just a slant that was on Dez Bryant. And then remember, shortly after that, we heard it. I remember I was at the draft in Dallas in 2018. And then I was in my room and I heard, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. This just in, Jason Witten announcing retirement of the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm like, what? Why? But remember, Dez had left not long before that, right? And Dez was out there hollering at Garrett Guy stuff. There's a bunch of turmoil going on in his locker room. Jason or Dez was talking about Garrett Guys. Jason Witten had been on video a couple of times trying to calm down Dez in the locker room and stuff like that. But I don't know. This new team, it don't seem like we have any kind of drama in the locker room. It looks like everybody's excited. Everything's high operation, high tempo, high energy this season. It looks good on paper. We just need them dubs.
The guys that are returning from last season had to, they definitely left last season at the end of it, probably as, pissed off as we were. And to see them have a big coaching change, all these different things, and then all this new blood come in, and not only have new blood, but exciting new blood where they're actually motivating some of the folks that, you don't normally see that rookies come in and motivate people on top of them. That's great. That's a great thing to have, man. It's a different energy, I think. I was talking to Eric B earlier. He said we should replace the word culture with camaraderie, simply because that's really what we're striving for. But really, that I think a culture is a better word for that, simply because you can have camaraderie and culture at the same time. I don't know if you can have it the flip way, but this team having fun, these little mini games that they're playing with coach and all this
basketball
other stuff,
games, the ping pong table.
Man, come on. If you think about what happens at a regular job when you break from the monotony and have an actual fun time, not like a fake fun time that your corporation forces you to have, but if you are able to have good times with your coworkers, that shit translates into the work that you put out, man. And really, that's what it's all about. That's why the word culture is a little bit bigger and more important, simply because if you can change that locker room and change the attitude of someone right when they walk into it, realizing you're not going to just get away with bullshit. This isn't a vanity play for you. This is about the Cowboys, the organization, and wins. If you can get that across at the beginning, then everything else, I think, is easier to coach, man.
I think Shotty's got it there. Now, my thing is, it's all fine and dandy right now. Everything's kiki and ha-ha. But when we get into this, and I know, we get into this first 5 stretch of games this season, we got a really, really tough schedule. And if the Cowboys ain't putting up no dubs, we're going to hear shit like fire Dak, put in Bazooka Joe, fire, we should have never hired Schottenheimer. Michael Irvin was right. We should have hired Deion Sanders. You could just hear what's going to go down. And I hope that Shotty is driving this message home with that, like, look, and I know they're not worried about the outsiders because it's them against everybody else. If you know anything about culture in the NFL, it's always the locker room against everybody else. They've got to maintain it. They got to not let anybody break their circle, especially this media, because they're going to drive these Cowboys and these Cowboy fans crazy. Because now you see guys like Dan Orlovsky out there saying Dak Prescott might have a MVP season. Oh, really? Y'all been talking all that shit about Dak, but now y'all are saying because we got George Pickens, well, that's a whole nother thing. But it's looking up, especially because I know this time last season, before we get out of here, start ready to roll, Bob, I know this time last year, I was thinking, yeah, we can go 14-3. I thought we was good. We didn't make any free agent moves. We didn't do any trades. Our draft wasn't as good last year. I mean, the NFL gave the draft whisperer a C+ after last year's draft.
Yeah.
And he got an A+ this year. Actually, they did the best in the NFC East. So we won the draft. So it must mean we going to the chip, right, Eagles fans? Especially when his division hadn't had a back-to-back champion in 21 years. Now, we got a lot of things going for us. And I'm just hoping that Jason Witten today at 82 days, they're going to continue to drive that home, because now we got this stretch. Now we're going to see players go fishing. We're going to see players go on vacation. If you follow them on Instagram, it's going to be sightings. People are going to say stuff. But I don't think Dak's going to be out of pocket, because Dak just had his second baby. And from what I'm hearing is Dak ain't going to go fishing. He's going to be getting some family time at home with his daughters this offseason.
Well, we need to make a mark right away. I know that the second half of this schedule upcoming is insanely tough. So in order to make it through there and be able to qualify for the postseason, we're going to have to get some great wins in the first half of it. But more importantly, is we're definitely going to have to win a lot of games before the October 26th game, because I fear that if Dallas Cowboys have a losing record, my friends that want to come out here for that Broncos-Cowboys game are going to renege on the whole thing and say, you know what, man, we're going to refund those tickets and get our flights back, because we are 1-6 or whatever the case may be.
That's cool.
I don't want to see that happen.
Let them happen, bro, because I'm going to be there. I told you I'm going to be there or be square. I don't care if we have to sit it there and watch it at your house. We do a BDG function or watch party at Bob's house. We'll figure something out. But you're right. We got to get on the winning side, especially the first two games, because they're division games. You got the Eagles and we got the Giants back-to-back, two very critical division games, especially if you understand this division has not had a repeat champion in 21 years. So a lot of things at stake. But I think Ryan concludes it here best as well. We got Father's Day coming up tomorrow. So shout out to all of the Father's Day ladies. Don't forget, it's the Cowboys husbands' Father's Day tomorrow. So if you watch this after the fact, make sure to do me a favor. Leave me a comment down there below and let me know, what are you getting your old man that's a Cowboys fan for Father's Day this weekend? Don't be just trying to say you're going to give him some. That ain't no Father's Day gift. Give him something. Like give him a gift, like buy him a jersey, buy him some tickets. I know I posted a question on my timeline. Everybody was like, tickets to the game. That would be the perfect Father's Day gift, especially because they're so high right now. Right, Bob?
Yes, they are.
And I think that's why a lot of folks are going to be hanging out like people at your house and at the tailgate. Shout out to Cowboy Life family. Lot 11, I believe a lot of folks are going to be hanging out at tailgates and watch parties this season. Might even be yours truly. But we thank everybody for tapping in here today on this Saturday. Shout out to everybody on YouTube and on Facebook. It's 82 days before Thursday night football. Before you know it, we'll be in training camp. And man, we got to decide what we're going to do for shows and stuff this year, Bob. I don't even got anything going. So I know last year, you got into the gym and was creating your boundaries and everything. But this year, I don't know. We're going to have to put something back together again, especially for, these games and me coming down there in Denver. That'd be really cool. We could do a show together right there in Denver.
You know it, man. I mean, we already have the smoke stream rolling. So, I mean, we've got to get something going on this end of the spectrum. So, we'll do it. We'll figure it out. You know that.
Always. Well, we appreciate y'all tapping in here today. As always, make sure you turn on your notifications to stay updated here this off season, because if Micah gets signed, we'll be here to talk about it. I got my girl Kels at the intels. Anything pops, make sure and turn on your notification. We'll be talking about the Cowboys here. And if you really want to follow me and stay engaged with me and on top of my content, make sure you join my Patreon. I got a 7-day free trial. You can get in there, be nosy, look around. But like I said, get your Raise the Bar membership so that way you can compete for that big Val hat that's going to be free, shipped to your door. But I'm BG. That's my guy, Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy. This has been All Things 82 as we're trying to discuss, will Jason Witten get into the Hall of Fame or will Dez Bryant get into the Hall of Fame? Both of them are eligible for the 2026 class. It'll be something we'll talk about here in the future. Y'all stay tuned. We'll see you in the gym on the next episode.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.
You got it.